Now let us talk about the characteristics of management. So the first point is management is a goal-oriented process. We just explained in the last class that every organization has a goal. It doesn't matter what type of organization you belong to, whether you could be a hospital or you could be a sports team or you could be a department store, anything. If it is an organization, there will be a goal. So you can also say it in this way. If there is no goal, there will be nothing to manage. Imagine that we open a venture where there is no clearly stated objectives, there is nothing to achieve, then what are we going to manage there? Everybody will do whatever they feel like doing, isn't it? So the first point, the first characteristic that we have to understand when it comes to management is that it is a goal oriented process. That means there should be some clearly defined objective. Either I have to win the tournament or I should have the highest recovery rate in my city if I'm a hospital, or if I'm running a school, I will have, let's say, I will have all passed students in the batch and I should get the highest class average. Or if I'm running a CA coaching center, I should have the most number of passed candidate, the highest pass percentage in the country. So this is some examples that I can say here. So management is a goal-oriented process. So you have to understand the goals may be different between organizations, but every organization has a goal. So that's the first point that we need to keep in mind. Okay, the second point is management is all pervasive. Management is all pervasive. What is mean by all pervasive? It is present in every form of organization, which is closely similar to the previous point we mentioned. So it is given here that the activities involved in managing an enterprise are common to all organizations, whether economic, social or political. So it doesn't matter what type of organization you are. I run a sole proprietorship organization. I have something to manage because I have a goal. The government also, whether the state government, the central government, it's the highest form of organization that you can see in a country. Even they will have a clearly stated objective. So management will be present everywhere. Wherever there is a goal, there will be management. So that's the second point. Now let's talk about the third point, which is management is multidimensional. And in the book you can see they have given three subdivisions or three main dimensions of management. So management of work, management of people, and management of operations. Now let's talk about it one by one. What is management of work? Management of work is whenever I'm setting up an organization, I have to define what are all the possible types of work that will be present in order for me to execute every day and achieve my goal. Okay? So let me give you some examples. Let's say we are running a department store, or let's say we are running a garment shop, or let's say we are running a restaurant business. Now, if you want to run a restaurant, put yourself in the position of the owner of the restaurant. So as owner, the first thing on day one, you will be sitting and defining, okay, I want to run a restaurant business and I have to make the most value of sale, and I should have the greatest customer satisfaction, I should have the highest rating. So these could be your goals. Now what all the things that I should do? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I need a place of establishment which should be located in the middle of the city. Okay, I should have this particular type of ambience in the restaurant. Okay, I run this type of cuisine. Should I run Indian cuisine or should I run Chinese cuisine? It all depends on what your taste is, how you want your restaurant to look like. Okay, and how I want the chairs to look like, I want the tables to look like this, and then I want the waiters to come and greet the customers in this particular manner. So you define each and every type of work that will be done. Okay, I want even to the extent that how your garbage disposal system will be in your restaurant. It has to be that comprehensive, that extensive. In other words, Work talks about what needs to be done, right? What needs to be done. The second thing is management of people. Management of people is about what are all the type of people should I recruit and manage in order for me to run this organization. We were talking about restaurant business, right? So in order to successfully run a restaurant, what are all the types of people I need in a day-to-day operation? I need a person to sit at the reception who can handle the crowd and say that, okay, how long will be the waiting time, right? And then I need supervisors who can direct the guests to the appropriate table. Some people will come as a single person, some people will come as a couple, some people will come like 5 to 6 people. So you have to show them, guide them to the appropriate table. And then we will obviously have the waiters who will carry the orders and communicate it to the kitchen. And then we will have the core kitchen environment who actually execute the orders and get the food ready. So again, we will have to define what are all the types of people. Each person will have a different skill set, right? The reception person, he needs a different skill set. The chef, she needs a different skill set. The waiters, they need a different skill set. So we have to define who are the people that we need to recruit, who needs to do the work, who needs to do what type of work. So that is second thing. So the second question is the management of people is about who, right? And the last is management of operations. Management of operations is an integration of management of work and management of people. So it is how the work is done. So this is where you define some standard operating procedures, like exactly how the waiters should receive the guests, exactly how the receptionist should talk to the customers, exactly how should they generate the bill. So it and even exactly how the chefs should heat the product, even to the last recipe. So these are all the points that I want you to keep in mind with respect to operations. This is where the work is what needs to be done, and people is where who needs to be done, and then what and who combines to say that how it should be done. That is operations. It defines the process, entire process workflow. Now let's talk about the fourth point. Management is a continuous process. We will see the 5 aspects of management, which is planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling. We will see them detailed in the upcoming lectures. But understand those processes are sequential in nature. One happens and then the other thing happens and then the third thing happens. For example, we want to shoot a movie, we want to create a movie, right? Let's say you are into this movie making business. You want to direct a movie. What will you do first? First, we write the story, and then we decide on the characters who could be the best fit for this such and such roles. And then we approach the characters, then we assemble a team, and then we do the shooting, and then we do post-production, and then we do promotion. So it's a sequential process, right? Most processes are sequential. Some processes will be done in parallel. For example, let's say you have assembled the team and the core team is busy in filming the project. At the same time, in parallel, the music team will be working separately, composing songs and doing re-recording, right? Isn't it? So editing team will be, let's say the shooting is done, the editing team will be working, editing the project. At the same time, music team will be working on the re-recording project. So that's how it works. It is mostly sequential, continuous process. It flows from one thing to the other. Sometimes it acts in parallel, sometimes done in parallel. So that is continuous process for you. And then group activity, which we saw, which is an obvious point. Nobody works in isolation, everybody works as a team. So management is a group activity. There are layers of people, top level, middle level and lower level, which we will see shortly. So management is a group activity, and then there has to be coordination. Again, coordination is a separate topic that we will see in detail later. And dynamic function is nothing works in static. Again, we were talking about this restaurant business some time while ago, right? Again, go back to that example. Now we had actually set up our business, and let's say our business was quite successful for the last 5 to 7 years. In our locality, our business has had got a very good name. But 100 meters away, let's say there is another established franchise who is setting up shop, same restaurant shop. So now there is a competition. So let's say we have a locality of 15,000 people, and out of those 15,000 people, we were regularly getting customers like 300 to 400 people per evening. Now, half of that are planning to go to the competitor's business. At least they will give a try. Now, what happens? Now, there is a new competition, there is a new player who is directly competing with us, taking almost half of our business. How are we going to react to that? So, this is dynamic function. Are we going to reduce our price, or are we going to double down our quality? How are we going to react to that? Isn't it? So that is dynamic function. So there is an action from the outer environment on our business. It is impacting our business directly. How are we going to respond to that? So that is the dynamic function of management. Responding to the events of external environment. And last thing is intangible force, which is quite obvious to say. You can see managers, but you cannot see management. Management is managers in action. So you cannot say that, okay, he is the person who is in management. No, he is or she is the manager. They are not the management. So nowhere you can find, okay, you go straight, take the third right, there you will see management. Oh, it doesn't work that way. Managers may be seen, but management is not seen. It is an intangible force. But how you can feel management? It is through the results. Because we said, right, every management has a goal to be achieved. So managers will give direction. The people at the lower level will carry out the directions, and they will wait and see whether they are achieving the objectives or not. So that is management in action. So that's it for today's video. We will see organizational objectives in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.